Yeah, so I was over there just engaged in casual conversation, and one of their dogs started licking his girlfriend's feet. Feet. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, ugh, that's gross. And then she went on to tell me that the other dog, right, when she's had a shower, likes to lick her legs and her hair, right? Lick the moisture out of her hair and her bum. And that one time she fell over backwards and he licked her. Yeah. This is all as he was licking my face. And I was like, oh my God, I've essentially just gone down on my dad's girlfriend.
On that bombshell, I think we'll stop there.
Fucking traumatized.
Hello and welcome all into the MO podcast. As always, you're here with me, Contumacious-Ann.
And me, Atreya.
And today we are going to be covering Zigmund Adamski.
Hey! I love this one.
Yes. So, because we're coming up into spooky season, it's the annual time of year where Atreya tries to make me believe that there's other stuff going on.
Dude, come on. You can't... no, I'm not having it. You're not disproving this one. You're just not having it. Nope.
So...
disprove it. Go on, try me.
Okay. Well, I've done my research, but here we go.
So did 14 times.
Yeah, Carl Pilkington fucking subscribes to that, so,
okay, whoa. Just watch your step, little man. Okay? You do not get to shit on Carl. Lots of people love Carl.
Yeah, they do, but he is still a little bit... Anyway.
You know what it is, Carl? I love you.
There you go. That's for you, Carl.
A girl at work actually has a I love Carl Pilkington mug. It's got Carl's face on it and it says, I heart Carl Pilkington. She has it on her desk every day. I shit you not. Okay? So you just watch where you tread.
So, was that bootleg or not, Carl? You tell us. Did you get a kickback from that, Carl Pilkington? Chime up in the comments. And like, subscribe and follow.
Helps the algorithm.
So, we've covered Yorkshire before a few times, and personally, I'd say it's England's Florida, because it's a little bit mental over there, and we know people from there, so...
Clearly you've never been to PLE.
Yeah, we can say that. So, Zigmund Adamski was found unresponsive on top of a coal pile in Todmorden in June 1980. He'd been missing from home for 5 days and his death was recorded as a heart attack. Now, normally this is where the story would start and finish. But there was quite a few factors in going into this. So, Zigmund was born in Poland in 1923. Little is known about his early life, but he left Poland probably because of the stuff that was going on over there. Nazis and all that.
I was going to say, do you mean the war?
Yeah, he arrived...
Good reason.
Yeah, he arrived in England around 1945. And then in 1951, he married Leokada Kowalski. And the couple settled in Tingley, West Yorkshire.
She sounds like she was born and bred West Yorkshire lass.
Yeah. Now, this comes to one of my little bugbears of this, because everyone called Leocadia Lottie. And they called Zigmund Ziggy. And this was well before Bob Marley had his son.
That is a very Yorkshire-y kind of... I mean, not so much Ziggy, but Lottie. It's a bit of a Yorkshire-y kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but then again, I have to also say that's probably just English people being lazy, not learning the real names. Now,
Mate, like, that's what they do. They take people's first names or their last names and they add an E, you know? My other half, his last name is Byrne. He gets Burnsy. You know, I get Banksy. You know, like, it's just a thing.
yeah, but I'm just going to segue.
British people do.
I'm just going to segue into that when me and my wife got married, she got called Carolina all the way through the ceremony. Even though we had a meeting with the guy, well, the head registrar we had a meeting with, and he said, right, anything you want to say? He was like, right, Carolina, Anthony, da-da-da. And he went, this is my junior registrar. He's going to be doing it. And every fucking time he mentioned a name, Carolina. And I had my mum there, and every time he said it, I could hear, Carolina. She was saying it under her breath.
Stepped up.
I was like, we were pissing our sides. Me and her were pissing our sides because it was just like, fucking whatever. We just want to get it over with. But
do you not think that was because Shaggy had ruined it for him? Like, he was listening to the "Oh Carolina."
He must pump himself up before the fucking.
"Oh Carolina."
It was his first fucking ceremony. He was pumping himself up, and he was like,
discount.
"Yes." It was like, "Fuck." I wouldn't mind, but it was £50, and we went, right, yeah, £50 for me and her,
£50
and 2 witnesses.
I mean, that was quite a lot back in the 40s, I guess. £50.
So
it's like $4,000 now, isn't it? So
yeah, fair enough.
Still got ripped, mate.
So Adamski worked as a coal miner at the Lofthouse Colliery for several years, and a few weeks before his disappearance, he had put in for early retirement. He was 56, and he was still in the pit. So, do you know what? It's not a life, is it? Fair enough.
It's not, but 56. I mean, if he'd held out till the mines closed, he'd have a lifelong payout by then.
Yeah, but, I mean, Scargill was probably still a junior by this point.
True, yeah.
So the reason that he actually wanted to retire was he wanted to take care of his wife because she was suffering from multiple sclerosis, and he wanted to become a full-time carer for her. Now,
that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's something that you've kind of got to take into consideration of this kind of whole story. Now, Adamski set out on or around different sources, come up with different dates, but I went with Wikipedia because, you know, they're truthful. So
you didn't even go with bedtime stories.
Well, all of them are saying 5 days, but Wikipedia only says 3 days. So I don't know which one to believe, which adds a little bit of doubt to this, you see. So already we've started.
I know, but bedtime stories uses 14 times. You can take that as fact.
There we go.
They did that gnome story.
Yeah, there we go. That's all I'm going to say. So Adamski set out on the 6th of June to go to a local supermarket to get some tea for that evening. Now, the supermarket was less than a mile away, so with it being a summer's day, he decided to walk rather than take the car. Now, on the way, he stopped to have a conversation with a neighbour, and he seemed in high spirits. He seemed very cool, and he went on his way. Now, when Adamski didn't return, Lottie called the police to report him missing. Her first suspicion was that he'd been kidnapped. Don't know why.
Why?
That is what the sources say. Even Bedtime Stories says that.
That's weird though, isn't it? Like, if my other half went to the shop, and he does, he fucks off to Co-op, quite regular, right? Co-op. Like, he fucks off to Co-op. It's literally up the road, yeah? It's like 2.5 minutes. He can be gone an hour and a half, right? And my first thought is never, he's been kidnapped. It's, he's fucking someone near the Co-op. Like, why did his wife automatically think he's been kidnapped?
So that...
Not, he's having an affair.
Yeah, there may be a reason to that, but there's a lot of stories that you can take out of this. But
I just think it's a bizarre thing to jump to the conclusion of. I would never in the world think Dave's been kidnapped because he's been gone at the co-op for an hour and a half. Like, nobody is wanting to kidnap Dave. Nobody. He's having an affair.
Bless him.
Or he's just getting out the road. Okay, he's not. No one's kidnapped him.
Just going to the fucking pub. He's like, I need some quiet time. Fuck me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's no. Somebody could literally send me a ransom note, like, with letters cut out from the magazines. Like, we have your fella. Give us, like, 10 quid. Or he buys it. And I'll just be like, him and his mates are having a laugh down the pub. And I'll put it in the bin.
Give us a Weatherspoons voucher.
I just would never think, oh my God, he's been kidnapped.
Yeah, it is a massive leap. But maybe there was something behind that. But on the 9th of June, which was a Monday, his body was discovered on top of a coal mile 37 miles away in Todmorden. Now, Zigmund had no links to the market town. He had no friends, family, associates, or work interests there. And it's kind of a long way to go for cheaper potatoes, really.
I mean, Wheatley Hill's a canny way to travel, but Dave still makes it to that co-op. He has no links in Wheatley Hill either. Telling you, some blokes just like to get out the road.
Yeah, but he was walking, so 37 miles. It would have taken him a while.
He could have hitchhiked.
I suppose.
Different
times. Yeah. Maybe.
Can you take me to the co-op Wheatley Hill, mate?
Yeah.
Sorry, can you take me to the co-op Wheatley Hill, please, mate? I need to get out the road of my wife.
Yeah, and I will put my thumb up.
Yeah.
So Trevor Parker found Adamski's body at 3:45 p.m. Now Parker had been in the yard from 8 a.m, but he left at 11 a.m. Locked the main gates, then returned for the afternoon deliveries by about 3 p.m. So apparently they were already on the 3 fucking day week here because
I was gonna
the
say,
coal
that's
mines.
like a cushy job.
Yeah, he could close the coal mine.
Gone by 11, I'll be back at 3-ish, maybe.
He could close a coal
Every time
mine
they
for
boot me
6
out
out
the
of
pub.
a fucking 4 hours in the day. It's like, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. No more coal coming in today. We're good for coal. Don't need any more. Yorkshire's fine.
It's August.
So, at 4:10 past 4, our secondary character, who is Alan Godfrey, who was a local police officer, arrived on the scene. Now, during the investigation, Godfrey noticed that although the coal pile was 10 feet in height and Adamski was placed on top of it, none of the surrounding coal was disturbed, and there were no sooty footprints leading away from the pile. It's also noted that Adamski's shoes were improperly fastened, and he was missing his shirt. He also seemed cleanly shaven. He'd not lost weight, which meant that he had access to food and shaving equipment while he was missing. So
he had an affair.
So he'd been somewhere where he was eating well and being shaved.
Sorry, this is just a whole earlier conversation just brought back fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Yeah. Gonna let that thought settle in your mind.
I don't know why I'm even necking this. Like it's gonna save me.
It's a placebo, please. So, Dr. Alan Edwards, who was a consultant pathologist at the Royal Halifax Infirmary, carried out the post-mortem later on the same day. And Adamski's death was estimated between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., which was kind of fits in with what Parker was saying. He left at 11. So, anytime I locked the gates, it was after that point. Obviously. And Adamski had an ointment that had been applied to burns. He had burns on his neck and on his body that couldn't be identified, but on these burns he had an ointment on it. Now, later on, the coroner, James Turnbull, found the cause of death of Adamski to be a heart attack. And maybe why this case is so... it echoes throughout time. He made a flippant remark that he claimed that this was one of the strangest cases, and he actually said, if aliens had dropped the body on top of that coal pile, I would only raise one eyebrow.
But given that they didn't,
yeah,
is all I'm saying.
Yeah, what happened? This is where the matter could have been put to bed, but for a bizarre incident 6 months later, which involved PC Alan Godfrey, who was the first responder on the Zigmund case. Now, he was called out to a herd of cows wandering around a housing estate in Todmorden.
That happened the other week, like in the UK, didn't it? There was a bunch of cows wandering around a council estate. People were putting pictures on Twitter like, these are in my front garden. Like, not out of the ordinary, apparently.
I assume it wasn't that bizarre, but every time Godfrey turned up to where they'd been reported, there was no evidence of the cows being there, and he'd get a call saying they were further down the road or further up the road. So, while investigating this at 5 a.m, Godfrey encountered a flying object hovering above the road. He described it as a rotating diamond object, 20 feet wide and 14 feet wide.
Is this where we have to go?
Yes.
Do one eyebrow?
Yeah, we do, because he didn't see this, but whatever. Godfrey was so surprised by this occurrence in front of him that he tried to radio the incident, and quelle surprise, his radio and all the equipment in his car ceased to work.
Well, of course it didn't. He was in an alien invasion.
Yep. So Godfrey did what every good copper does, if you've ever watched Hot Fuzz, and used his notebook.
Run away? Oh, okay.
Used his notebook, surely, and he drew a picture
catching them killers then.
of what he saw. And when the object disappeared, Godfrey found himself still in his car, but further down the road, and at least 25 minutes had passed.
Still with his notebook?
Yeah, still with the drawing.
He did that thing where he flips it and it's just some bloke blowing the guy's head off.
So years later, under hypnosis, Godfrey recalled that he spent that last 25 minutes with a tall man and a small robot-like thing being examined. So, kind of thing.
A small robot and a tall man.
Yeah. So, it's basically one of them typical alien abduction things. He was taken above, there was a bright light, there was a man over him, and the small robot thing was examining him. He did, when he was interviewed by a newspaper at the age of 70, he did say that this could have been a very vivid dream, as he did read into alien abduction after the Adamski case, and he never did once say at the time that he was abducted. So it was just the hypnosis that may have jogged a dream that he had after reading about all them books.
See, this is what I don't get. You're like, what could have happened? I'm going to go for hypnosis. And then okay, I went for hypnosis, for past life regression, right? And I am so heavily into the Tudor era, it is unreal, okay? The most vivid thing under hypnosis that came to me was a Tudor memory, and I had all these castles and how they dress. And well, yeah, fucking course, because I've watched documentaries till they're coming out my arse. Of course, I know all about the Tudor era. And after I came out of it, I didn't think, oh my god, I lived in the Tudor era. It was, I watched far too many Tudor documentaries. So I should probably change to a different period. Now I know plenty.
Yeah.
We'll move to a different era. Why would you go for the hypnosis knowing I've just looked quite heavily into aliens, so it could impair my judgment?
Well, that's the thing as well, and we don't know the leading questions that were asked, obviously, because if you go into a hypnosis session or any type of session like that, and you say, "This happened to me. I want to know what it was." You're already giving them ammunition as to try and bring something out of you, as you know yourself. I mean,
and they will ask leading questions. Let's face it. Like, so these aliens that abducted you, what did they look like?
yeah.
So the spaceship that you walked into, what shape was it?
Yeah. And
the probe that they stuck up your ass, how did it feel?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you any 1980s sci-fi or that, you're talking about robots there already. Tall men. Excuse me. Tall men with big heads. Like, that's a typical grey look in it. And then, yeah. So...
all he had to do was watch Mac and Me. Fuck me, that TV, that fucking film was terrifying. I still have nightmares about Mac and Me. And it was supposed to be this cute little alien. No!
Yeah.
It's the stuff of nightmares, okay?
Imagine it...
I still don't sleep.
Yeah. Imagine if he would have watched the series of Alf before he went in. Fuck, you know.
Oh, Jesus. Exactly. See?
Yeah, all the cats everywhere. So, I mean, it sounds far-fetched, but a little bit believable. But Lottie's claim that Zigmund had been kidnapped stemmed from the fact that there was a little bit of a family feud going on. Now, Zigmund was supposed to give away his goddaughter, who had been living with him for the past couple of months, along with her mother. Now, apparently...
he was giving away a mother as well. No, fucking hell, it's like 2 for 1 deal.
2 for 1, yeah. He was down at the car boot. Also had some gnomes from John the Canoe Man. But there was some issues going on, and apparently his goddaughter's father didn't want this wedding to go ahead, and there was a little bit of friction going on. Now, what I have heard from other things is that he was kidnapped by his goddaughter's father. He was kept in a shed for 5 days, and he was burnt with battery acid. This is what the burns are from. And then, because he was getting on and he'd been down the mines, he was 56, he'd been down the mines all his life, he succumbed to a heart attack, and the guy just tried to get rid of him.
And I get that, but how did he dump him on top of a fucking pile of coal 10 foot in the air and not leave any footprints?
Yeah, and 37 miles away. That kind of is a bit weird. Why would he have gone that far away? And he's left him out in the open. He's not tried to dispose of the body. He's just got rid of it.
Yeah. That's the crux for me. Like, why? How did you manage to dump him?
Yeah.
On top of, like, yeah, that's... I heard all that about the battery acid and the, like, kidnapping stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense, but this is the issue that I have.
Yeah, there's a few more issues with it. You can I think it kind of fit, they worked backwards from that. They got the burns, and they went da-da-da, and then they went, just don't worry about that bit. We'll deal with this bit first.
Mm-hmm.
So there's another theory that Zygmunt's request for early retirement had been denied, and he had another few years working down the mine, and he just decided to go, fuck it, not going to do it, just going to walk away.
37 miles?
Yeah, but then again, that kind of pisses on the fact that he wanted to take care of his wife, who was ill. That was the whole reason for him to retire. So, again, I don't really get that, unless he was having an affair, maybe, but... Also, the burns have been described away because he was going through a treatment which was called moxibustion, which is kind of like it's a Chinese treatment which is like acupuncture, but instead of sticking needles in you, they burn your skin. They don't burn your skin, they put mugwort on your skin, and then they burn that, and then that's what the scar was from, and the ointment, when you put the ointment on it to get rid of the burning sensation, that is what the ointment was.
Was that a popular holistic therapy back then?
So this is one of the things. It's like Yorkshire in the 80s. Do you honestly think a Polish man would have been going for that kind of Eastern herbalistic approach with it?
And his wife would have known if he'd been going for that. Because surely she would, be involved in the finances of the house. And she'd be like, no, you're not paying for this holistic. You don't even need it, okay? I will stick needles in you. Lie down. I'll do it now.
Yeah. So I again think that's maybe he was doing it on the sly. He was having an affair, maybe to earn his to keep it up a bit longer. But
I don't know. I could believe it if it was like nowadays.
Yeah.
But back in the 80s, like.
But you think as well that the police would know about all this hippie shit that's going on in their area, and that maybe they wouldn't know it straight away, but they'd go, them, it's the 80s, so I'm just quoting the 80s, them yellowskins over there, fucking mental. We'll go and have a word with them and see what they're saying. That is what they would have done.
Like, and you think about it as well, like I live in a mining community, or what was a mining community. And I'm sure you also know what like miners kind of act like. And yeah, that's not the way of the miners. They just don't, even nowadays, they don't do the holistic stuff. They don't even do doctors, okay? They just don't. They just deal with it. Like, if they bump their head, they're like, I'll rub some butter on it. It'll be fine. Like, wherever that fucking came from.
Exactly. There's that Sean Locke joke, God rest his soul, when he used to work on building sites and he had skin cancer. And he says, you can't really say to a 60-year-old Irish foreman, can you just rub some ombre solaire into me back, please? Because I don't want to get exposed to UV rays. It didn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like,
it doesn't, no.
So I think
builders and miners are hardcore, and it just no, I just don't think.
Yeah,
that just doesn't wash with me. Especially in the 80s, they were like proper stiff upper lip, like man's man kind of thing.
Especially
like,
a Polish dude. Then nowadays they're mental as fuck. Like, I've worked with a few Polish lads now, and they just get on with it regardless. Nothing affects them. Oh my
god, they can drink us under the absolute table, and
that's how they deal with their shit.
I can drink. Yeah. Fuck me. Yeah. Okay. They put me to shame drinking me under the table. Dear God, I would have been hospitalised.
Yeah. That's how they deal with their stuff. And in the 80s, they didn't have feelings. Like, no one had feelings in the 80s.
No.
But
the air was too polluted for us to have feelings.
Yeah. Especially down the mines.
Exactly.
So, what's interesting about Alan Godfrey as well, apparently, in 1977, don't know how true this is, but in 1977, he was involved in an altercation where he received a kick in the knackers and he was unable to have children. Yet, in early 1980, his wife woke up by a bright light outside their window. She went on to mount him and they went on to have kids.
Well, that is convenient.
So
did he see the bright light, or was it just
it was just his wife, and it woke her up.
Amazing that.
And she woke him up and then straddled him and had kids. So
that's amazing. That is genuinely like almost immaculate conception. For her to just see that light and for him to not see it, that's like for me that's proof that God is there. Yeah. Like, God showed me this light and now I'm pregnant, and do with that what you will.
I think to be honest, that was in his self-published book about all these incidents, because when he retired he went on to publish a few books about UFOs via Amazon. You can buy them on Amazon if you want, but you just may as well.
I have seen some books on Amazon, okay, that took my fancy. I thought they had a nice cover, and then I read the reviews and I was like, no.
Yeah. So, also, there is something interesting about the UFO that he saw, because there was a prefab house called the Futuro House that toured through Todmorden during the early 70s on the back of a truck. Now this...
I loved that house.
Yeah, so if you know what it... Like, I'll put some pictures up, but if you know what it looks like, it's basically a UFO. But it was pulled on the back of a HGV. So if you were to flash your lights on it, because they were reflective lights, it was a holiday home designed by Finnish architect Matti Saarinen. And it was commissioned as a holiday house or vacation home. And basically, it was prefab. You could just pick it up at the factory, drive it to wherever you wanted, and drop it off. And it was made by Waterside Plastics, which were once the biggest employer in Todmorden. So... when you see
And for anybody wanting a UFO house, they were really fucking hot in the summer and really fucking cold in the winter because they were made of plastic.
Yeah.
So they didn't last very long, and now there's an abandoned village of them.
Yeah. They weren't great. But if you would have shined your lights off it at 5 a.m. in the morning, it would have been reflective, and if it was on a HGV that was parked up on the side of the road, it would have been 14 foot above the ground when you saw the lights, because it was on a raised surface anyway. So, I think we can put to bed that.
Yeah. I was always dubious with this guy. Like, Zigmund Adamski, I was all like, oh, yeah, this is a really... this is a compelling case. But yeah, that guy, I was like, I have issues with you.
Yeah. I think I'm not buying the kidnapping thing, even though it was one of the first things that Lottie said. I think it was just more family affairs in that thing. The only thing, and this is pure speculation, I am not having a go at him, but I think he may have just gone for a walk that was longer than he wanted to. But then...
how did he end up on top of that fucking 10-foot pile of coal then?
Maybe his mistress's lover came back. You know, his mistress's husband came back and found him.
What? And literally hauled him over their shoulders and hauled him up a 10-foot pile of coal and then left no trail on the way out.
I mean, let's not forget the person that found him, Trevor Parker, who conveniently locked the gates at 11 a.m. and didn't return back until half 3.
Mate, the coal doesn't come out until 3. There's no point in going down before
Indeed, yeah, it's got a special brewing time. That's when the best coal comes out, half 3.
Yes.
No point in being there.
So what, you think that he just had, like, family issues? Like, somebody in his family, like, done him in and then just parked him on top of a 10-foot pile
No, I think
of
he
coal?
was banging someone. He got found out and then got dropped off.
Dropped off how? By helicopter?
No, but if Trevor Parker...
How did he end up there?
So if Trevor Parker... Like, I'm not disrespecting Trevor Parker. Allegedly, this is all allegedly. But if he was banging someone... Like, they're all coal miners in the same fucking place. If...
I know.
Someone knew Trevor Parker and said, I know you're locking your gates at fucking 11 a.m. this morning. Do you mind if I dump something there? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah, and that's fair enough if they hadn't dumped him on a 10-foot pile of coal. And, right, okay, so say you was going to kidnap somebody because you were pissed off with them because whatever, and you were going to torture them and kill them. Why bother to, like, go, oh, I'm so sorry for those battery acid wounds. I'll put a little bit TCP on there for you. Does that feel a little bit better?
I think he...
Why would you do
I
that?
think he genuinely could have been doing that treatment.
He genuinely couldn't have, dude. He was a miner in the 80s. No.
I think maybe he was one of the first people that was like, you know what? Let's be honest. He wanted to retire to take care of his ill wife. He wanted to take early retirement to take care of his ill wife.
So he wasn't going to be wasting money on holistic therapies. Not that that's a waste of money, but back in the 80s, in a mining community, they would have assumed that that was a waste of money. They were making frickin'...
Still is nowadays,
what was it?
But...
hooky mats, clippy mats, whatever they were called. You know, where they get bits of rag and they pull it through a bit of canvas and then they throw it on the floor like a rug. They're fucking atrocious. My mum used to make them.
Is that not a magician's trick?
No. Oh, I need to bring you to Beamish. You should see Beamish. It's the way forward.
I don't.
But no, I don't know. No.
So what's your thinking?
It was
aliens. He was dropped on top of a pile of coal by aliens. Of course it was, yeah.
Yeah. His clothing was done up by somebody who looked like they didn't know how to put clothes on properly. Like they were trying to cover him up, but they weren't quite sure how to clothes.
Yes.
Aliens. Aliens don't wear clothes.
No, a husband that's just killed someone.
I mean, even somebody that's just killed somebody knows how to clothes. You know how to do buttons and zips? No, they didn't know it was aliens. I'm sorry, but no.
Fine. Fair enough.
He didn't just climb up there and have a heart attack and nobody... Fireman's lifted him up and walked him up. Like, if they got a crane to, like, just kind of, like, JCB him up and just dump him on the top. A, why? Why didn't you even hide the body, right? Why? Why would you not hide the body if you're going to murder somebody? And B, that means you're going to have to, A, be somebody that knows how to use a forklift truck or a JCB, or B, be in cohorts with somebody who knows how to use a JCB or a forklift truck. And D, like...
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why are you putting him on there? Why just leave him on the ground?
Yep. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I think that the Yorkshire police had a lot on their hands at this moment in time with the Yorkshire Ripper and all that. But I think there was cohorts going on.
Oh, I can't believe you just think he was having an affair and it was just some bloke who just dumped him 10 foot on a pile of coal.
Yes.
I'm not having it, okay? It was aliens.
Fair enough. There we go. So, I've been roundly told that it was aliens there. So, in the first episode, I totally believe now.
I'm not even going to agree to disagree because you're wrong.
Fine. And on that bombshell, this has been the MO podcast with me, Contumacious Ant.
And me, Atreya.
And it was aliens. We'll see you all next time with another spooky thing that I will be forced to believe, even though rationale and facts will prove otherwise. But yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye. You know, it makes sense.
The MO podcast. The MO podcast. The MO podcast. The MO podcast.